hashtag Renew Timeless fan campaign.
Super weird 24 hours, even for a time traveler.
I think the mission was successful. We went back and pretty sure we changed NBC's minds.
And I can't help but think it's due to the enthusiasm of a couple of you new recruits.
We were canceled, we were gone, and you brought the show back.
Eric Kripke may act like he's grateful to you, but I'm the one that's really grateful to you.
Since the show started, there's been a fan base that I've never seen before. I mean, you know, thank you, nerds.
From the beginning, we've made Timeless for the fans. And so the fact that you responded as passionately as you did, and the fact that frankly you came up and saved our ass, is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So thank you.
You saved the show, you let NBC hear about it, you demanded more, and we're coming at you for season 2 with 10 more episodes. Can't wait for you to see them.
Sounds made up.
Hello, fellow Time Bandits. I'm Brian Truitt from USA Today. We're going to talk about Timeless. We're going to talk about burning questions we still have, the first season, and what may be coming in season 2. Let's first introduce our executive producers, Eric Kripke. And Sean Ryan. And you all know Lucy Preston, Abigail Spencer. Let's give it up for Wyatt Logan, Matt Lanter. And y'all love some Rufus.
Some clockwalkers.
And last but not least, the dastardly Garcia Flynn, Gordon Visnich.
Is it bad that we're all Insta-storying right now in real time?
We're all Insta-storying. Very real.
So I'm really honored to be up here because not only am I a Timeless fan, but a lot of people, a whole lot of people, went and voted in our USA Today Save Our Shows survey.
Yeah.
And it beat 23 other bubble shows as shows we wanted to watch. I voted for you. Probably a lot of these other people did too. What was everybody's first reaction at the news of resuscitation?
Totally stunned. I mean, we got the call, Sean and I got the call from NBC 9:30 on a Saturday morning. We had been canceled that Tuesday, so you had just sort of gotten like...
Wednesday. It wasn't even
Wednesday, yeah. So we started to like make peace, and you're just like, okay, and you're just kind of starting to go through your grieving process.
You say your drinking process?
Drinking and grieving.
Oh, grieving, okay.
Drinking. And then all of a sudden, because we really didn't know, there was no hint. We were never getting, it was Sony to their credit and NBC were, really busting ass behind the scenes. But we didn't know. So it was truly out of the blue, where, I'm taking my kid to, soccer, and then all of a sudden there's a call, and it's NBC, and they're like,
Why is NBC calling?
right, exactly.
Does people yell at them?
Rub it in.
Just want to rub it in a little bit.
To rub it in?
right, yeah, they're calling it gloat. And it was NBC, and they got on and they said, we made a mistake, we're picking up the show, and we want, we talked to me and Sean, we want you guys and the actors to be the ones to announce it to the fans, because they did, because they're the ones who saved the show, and we want you to announce it in 15 minutes and go. And I was like, I'm going to soccer. So we scrambled everybody, and yeah.
Call the actors we could call. Some of them were in Europe.
Some were sleeping.
One was getting her beauty sleep.
I was
So we could not.
totally asleep. Like my phone was off, and I woke up. I'm not kidding. To hundreds of texts and emails and phone calls and photos. People sending me photos of like. Timeless is back. Timeless has been renewed, and I'm like, those people are so crazy. They just can't let it go. I'm like, let it go, people. And then we got an email from Sean Ryan that said, "This is not a joke. Timeless has been renewed," and I was flabbergasted and stunned and amazed and so grateful because it truly is magical. I mean, as much as we are these characters, we're all working actors who have been working at this for a long time. And there is something just so beautiful when the fans come back and they love you in return, because sometimes you're not even sure if people watch the show. So it was really amazing. So thank you very much.
Woo! As a matter of seriously though, it does occur to me, like, as a matter of fact, because this panel really isn't even, the show's not on until 2018. The point of the panel is to celebrate you for saving the show. So I think you deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Everyone on for saving the show.
So Malcolm, I like your t-shirt.
Yeah! Clock blockers.
Clock.
Clock blockers.
I want to thank you for the fans. This is my thank you for the fans. You're having clock.
I got it made in different fonts and styles because I'm rich now and I do what I want with my money.
Okay, you win. You win.
Hey, I actually want to know, can we do by a round of applause what fandom name do you guys like better, okay? So, round of applause for Clock Blockers. Okay. Round of applause for Time Bandits.
So, round of applause for clock blocking time bandit.
All right, good. All right, thank you. Clock blocking Time Bandits it is.
Yeah, we sell it. A couple of those say that, others say other things.
So let's talk about that fantastic first season you guys had. You started big with the Hindenburg. You don't go small that first pilot. You also went to 62 Vegas, Watergate, the Alamo, met Al Capone. There's a space race, pretty much everywhere, even the French and Indian War. For the stars, what was your favorite adventure that first season?
It changes for me every time. Every time I get the question, I come up with something different. I loved World War II, but I loved the Alamo because we got some pretty cool garb in the Alamo. And it was just a whole different look and a feel. I really loved that one.
I loved the Bonnie and Clyde episode. I thought that was such a... it was special, it was unique. I loved the time period. I loved the costumes. The actors who played Bonnie and Clyde were phenomenal. We had a great director. John Terlesky, who really just killed it. And you know, at the heart of the show, it's a character relationship show, and it really is, you know, getting to know the relationships of these characters.
That was the episode we kissed.
That's the first kiss.
I forgot about that.
No, you didn't.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, say it again. What happened? What about you?
My favorite is when they kiss.
Yeah, you showed up at work that day.
I
You weren't even in
did.
the
I had
scene.
nothing to do.
He was like right off camera.
He was just
So
doing this.
weird.
I was like, but care more now? Yes.
Goran,
what?
Yeah, I have to say, I have a really good friend who's a stunt guy out there in Vancouver, and we know each other for many years. And we did a Western episode, and I rode a horse that I've been riding for 4 or 5 years up in Vancouver on my own saddle, and I have to say that was a pretty cool thing to do. And it was in the middle of the snowstorm. I never rode the horse through the snow. That was amazing.
That was a great episode too, because we learned about Bass Reeves being the Lone Ranger and more about that story. And got to meet Jesse James
And that was not written in the snow, by the way. That was just like
It just happened.
we got the script and it's a Western, and it was getting really cold and rainy, go figure, in Vancouver. So it's
Dusty.
yes, dusty and dry, and you know, we've got like snow in the forecast. So we were like, okay, I guess we'll do it.
Yeah.
See what happens. And it ended up being beautiful.
And I was like, we're making Pale Rider this week.
Well, what was great also about that was the production itself, you know, having to pivot, but also the costuming and how that fit into what we were wearing there. I think the person in the full costume really appreciates that.
Marianne, our costumer, we have to give a special shout out.
Who's your stepmom?
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Hey, Renee!
Our costume designer,
It's very
Marianne
nice.
Kao, though, really, I mean, she's creating another character in our show. Every single costume is authentic and completely unique, and we're making a brand new movie every episode. It is, what's happening?
Just Malcolm. It's just Malcolm being Malcolm. Keep talking.
Fine. And I'll just roll my eyes accordingly. She's doing the impossible. It truly is one of the, if not the most ambitious show on television. So thank you for your appreciation for it, because it's the hardest I've worked, and everyone on our show has worked.
Well, so it's an impressive wardrobe on the show, and I'm sure it's an impressive wardrobe off the show too. There's so many different eras that you guys get to wear. What's the most annoying era?
Anything with a corset, my gosh. Like, I mean, and there was a lot. Like anything predating, like 1900, or even
Like
in
the
my
Lincoln episode,
The Lincoln-
seemed like you had big.
Yeah, I had like 12 layers underneath it, and we started in August, and so it was 105 degrees outside in Vancouver, and we're in 12 layers of wool.
Or when you wear wool pants in 1754 and you split them. Go over a fence.
Yeah.
That's kind of difficult.
That was amazing.
I had tight shoes. Shoes were very tight.
You know what? It was so amazing, because usually it's the women on the show who always have like the comfy shoes, because we're always in heels. These guys had their comfy shoes waiting for them after every scene, because the period shoes are very uncomfortable.
Goran, you were in this fight, that big fight scene that we had at Rittenhouse's office. And the floor that they installed looked awesome, was not awesome to fight on. Like, it was so slippery. At one point, I was really frustrated. It was late. I think I took my boots off and like threw them on the ground. Like, I don't really do that, but I was frustrated.
I give full credit to these guys, because I was there for part of that fight scene, which happens, if you guys remember, in the Benedict Arnold episode. And these guys are troopers, because I think that was probably the most amount of men we had in a room just fighting. I think it was like 8 or something like that. And that floor is the slipperiest.
That's good English, yes.
This man from Croatia.
It took the Croatian to teach you the language.
So much credit to these guys for not just learning and fighting and doing all that choreography, but doing that on wood was probably one of the most dangerous floors.
We were actually pouring, this is like, I didn't know this until that night.
Yeah.
That is like an old Hollywood trick that you pour Coke on the floor to make it like kind of sticky.
Get some grip.
And so we were just literally pouring Cokes on the floor.
I definitely fell on one of those.
Hopefully
You were laughing at that.
Yeah, I was laughing. Oh, I remember. I was eating popcorn.
But I'm okay now.
That's all that's important. How cramped does it get in the lifeboat, really?
It's very cramped. It's hot and
It's
very
It's
hot.
hot and it's tight, but some of my favorite moments happen in that lifeboat, and I think also when you were in the present, and it was during the Capone episode, and Rufus and Lucy have to we kind of throw everyone off the trail, and we time jump, and the guy who's supposed to replace Wyatt comes with us. It was so fun to shoot, and it was so fun for Wyatt to show
Without
up.
me?
Well, he's always telling me to put my seatbelt on and like bossing me around. So
It's
great.
time travel.
Yeah.
You gotta wear a seatbelt. Click it or ticket.
Those time travel officers, they're strict.
Time cops.
But it's fun because I think most of the emotional stuff, and you really get a lot of the relationship stuff in the time machine. But it is the way it looks. It's quite small.
And they also changed it from the pilot, and I'm very OCD because I'm supposed to be the pilot, so I'm like, I notice every change. I'm like, that button's not there. I had a sticker over there. That button is not there right now. But they changed it. What we're in is a very cramped space, and as the show went on, they sort of expanded the ship in order to be easier to film in and do this. Because I think when we first started out, like nothing removed, so we were just fighting and cramped and hot, and now things get removed. The seats have been slightly changed and adjustments. Mason Industries, they've made some adjustments to improve the efficiency of the ship. And so it works out. It's really changed. If you notice, there's a very small change. That you can, just little Easter eggs. It's not how Easter eggs work.
Eric and Sean, I really like the thought of Rittenhouse, the fact of like the idea of a group that's always been around in history, who everybody's been a part of, and no one's actually known about it. It's been this thing that's been talked about in hushes. Where did that come from? Where did you get that idea?
Honestly, it came from a really practical story reason, which was if it's a bunch of good guys, chasing an antagonist through time, he's trying to do something. And he's trying to do something bigger than, save the Hindenburg and try to kill Ulysses S. Grant. Like, it all has to add up to a bigger mission, because otherwise it's kind of not a very interesting antagonist, and he's just sort of crazy, running from place to place and messing, stuff up. So it honestly came from that. It came from, he needs to be doing something that's part of a larger puzzle. And so what is that larger puzzle that he's doing? And then that kind of landed us to, we started thinking about like Skull and Bones and Illuminati and sort of like all of these, Freemasons and all of these societies have been around for a really long time in the history of the country, and that they could kind of weave in and out of the history of the country. And anyway, it started to come from there.
Well, I'm sorry.
Just real quick, I would add that it's so funny because I think Eric came in with the name Rittenhouse one day, and I was like, yeah, oh, that sounds great, that's fantastic, and then we were like, oh, and then there's a David Rittenhouse, and we put in, I have a daughter who I was taking out east to look at colleges, and we were going to Philadelphia, and I was given a list of hotels to stay at. One of them was the Rittenhouse. I was like, oh my God, I've got to stay there. So I went and stayed at the Rittenhouse in Philadelphia, and came to find out this David Rittenhouse was like an amazing dude that we totally slandered on the show.
I'm
sorry to the Rittenhouse.
I literally picked the name because I did a search of Revolutionary War clockmakers, and the name Rittenhouse came up. I was like, that's a cool name, and he's a clockmaker and evil, and we came up with it. But it's true, like he was like the greatest dude.
Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia.
And then in the Benedict Arnold episode, he's like, you've got birthing hips, or whatever creepy stuff he was saying. And like in history, like he was the first head of the U.S. Mint. Like he was like a really good guy, and we just completely besmirched his name for.
It's a good whiskey too. It's a really good whiskey too. For all of those whiskey drinkers.
Yeah. So you're right. Apologies to the Rittenhouse.
Yeah. Which brings us to Lucy and that season finale. I think that was one of the most powerful scenes. Is when she finds out that her mom has been Rittenhouse this whole time. What for filming that scene? What was it like for you, Abigail?
Well, I have a mother. Mother-daughter relationships are complicated, to say the least. And I actually think it's really fascinating because I did not know, as we were shooting season 1, that my mother was going to end up being the leader of this Rittenhouse group. And I thought it was a really interesting choice because I love the way that we portray women on the show. I love the female stories that we're telling on the show, and I think it's very apropos to that Lucy's mother is the most conflict for Lucy as she's doing this journey, and then that the most powerful person on Rittenhouse's side is also a woman at this point. So I think that's a cool thing to be exploring. But also, what was difficult about that scene, it was the last scene that we shot of the entire season. So we had been working our tails off for almost 8 months, 14 hours a day, nonstop. And the last scene that we're shooting is that scene where basically we're kind of wrapping up all of season 1 and then dropping this huge bomb, all in the same breath. And I'd already been shooting for 14 hours that day at the time. So I felt very close to Lucy. I felt very overwhelmed. I felt very confused and saddened because the season 1 was coming to an end and we didn't know if we were coming back. And really connected to the woman who plays that part. She's an incredible actress, and I thought she did a lot of justice. So it was a lot of emotions and feelings going on, and a lot of words to say. Lucy is, unlike me, very verbose.
Well, because you didn't know you were going to get picked up, Kenna, did you think about how to end this episode? Do we go full bore with the Rittenhouse reveal, or do you do another? Did you always have that ending, or did you think about it a lot?
We had that ending, I think, from the very beginning of season 1, that we knew that we were building towards that. And no, you never. You play to win, man, and you never design a season as an apology, and then at the end you're like, well, maybe we will come back, so I'll give them the answers. You come in like hard. You're like, no, man, we're coming back, and you write it that way. And to me, that's the only. And I know Sean agrees. Like that's the only way you write a show. You don't write it to defeat. You write your way to victory. So.
Yeah.
Gordon, I want to talk a little bit about Flynn because of all the characters, he's got the most interesting arc because he starts as the really bad guy, and by the end, he's still kind of the bad guy, but not really the worst guy. What did you know about that kind of throughout? Or did you change your performance in any way to kind of reveal certain things as the season went on?
No, well, at the first meeting with Sean and Eric, we've been talking about what's going to be happening in the future, and I kind of knew the path they're going to lead Garcia, but I didn't know much, So I wasn't changing anything in my acting. I knew there's something happened in my life. We knew that he lost his family and that he's probably not responsible. I found out that he's definitely not responsible through the season. So that affected many things, but not how I play the character from the beginning. I always knew why he's doing what he's doing.
But when we find out he has a mom, he's very much humanized. We're like, even he has a mom.
Even Flynn.
Yeah, I love when the guys put that scene with his family, when you see really human side of Flynn, when he pulls that little plastic toy gun from the cabinet, and he goes to his daughter and his wife, and then you see that, Rittenhouse is, killing these people practically in front of him, and then you kind of understand why is he doing what he's doing. But are you able to say, okay, you're allowed to do what you're doing? There's still, big bad thing that he does. So we'll see what's going to happen in the next season.
So speaking of next season, because we know it's happening.
Right.
Woo!
What can you say about season 2?
We're at the beginning of the process. The writers will start in September. We'll start filming in November. So Eric and I did come up with a lot of ideas that we pitched to NBC back in March when, most shows at the end of, a season, the network wants you to come in and sort of pitch what the next season will be. So we definitely have some ideas, nothing sort of set in stone, but there are time periods. I know Eric has been very interested in visiting, same with me. One of the things that I like is, obviously it's a big hook on our show that we go back to a unique time period and we meet people in history. Some are famous, some aren't, but they're really interesting characters. And we always try to approach story from how is this time period affecting our characters. It's not just that they're sort of tourists and they're witnessing something, they're participating in this world, and so how is that going to affect things? So one of the things I'm excited about season 2 is I think we can just dig deeper into character. We'll still have spectacle and we'll have sort of bigness, but I think there'll be some episodes where, we'll just dive deep into the Lucy and Wyatt of it all, or Rufus and Gia and these other things. And then, we shot last season in Vancouver. This season we're going to film in Los Angeles. Woo! It's some LA people?
Yeah, wow.
And I think that will allow us to tell a few stories that we were unable to tell. There were stories we told in Vancouver that we wouldn't have been able to tell in LA. The, Western in the snow. But there are definitely some stories that we were unable to tell there that we will be able to tell in LA. And is that vague enough for everyone?
I can give more specific dirt. All right, so Lucy's mom is going to be really one of the major big bads in season 2. I can say that.
Woo!
And that Rittenhouse does have their hands on the time machine. And so that's way worse even than Garcia having his hands on the time machine. And Garcia and the team kind of sort of find themselves now facing a common enemy. And so there's going to be, probably some sort of complicated, really fraught, messy team up with that. So there's that. I mean, the thing that and I agree with everything Sean's saying. I would say the thing that we really found this year that we really love about the show and means something to us is we really are very proud of that we were able to tell these very positive, fun, exciting, but also really inclusive stories about history, stories about women and stories about minorities, and stories about gay people, and just that everyone contributes to the history of this country. And without, I will be the opposite of political in this, but I'm just saying that's a good message these days. And so I would say that there's going to be a lot of doubling down on that in season 2, and that we're really focused on just presenting this idea that history is for everybody, and America is for everybody. So I think there'll be that in season 2 as well.
Sean, I think you have something to show these nice people.
Yes. We've been asked to sort of announce the DVD release of Timeless.
Yay!
September 19th of this year. It will have some cool deleted scenes and gag reels. And can I, hereby round of applause, any interest in seeing some of the gag reel right now?
You look really nifty in your French uniform.
Why do you think we have the protocol?
What's the protocol? No. I'm right here.
Ways
I'm swimming. I'm swimming.
We have no time.
I'm swimming.
Really, guys? Really?
You're canceling my tenure meeting?
It's not me.
You're department chair.
Just remind me of someone. Let me get this out of my throat and talk to her. Hey.
So make sure you buy the DVD September 19th, Timeless, Season 1.
We could have 2 hours of gag reel, probably, but a lot of funny stuff happened while we were shooting. It was
Yeah, these actors have too much fun.
too much.
A number of takes were ruined by mirth and laughter.
Oh, mirth and laughter.
Alrighty, I know you guys have some questions, so let's have it.
Oh, Mike's. Use the
Mic check.
microphone. The microphone.
Uh-oh. Is there anyone that can help us?
Anyone gonna?
Yeah.
Is anyone helping?
Can anyone sign a question?
Hello?
Is anyone?
Sure.
Is there staff? Yeah.
That works.
If you want to take that DVD off your hands, you don't care.
I have a secret. There's actually no DVD in there. It's just the packaging. But
Look, it's a total dummy DVD.
Okay, thank you. My question is for mainly the writers, but the actors can chime in too. You notice in the major networks nowadays are going to like fewer episodes, and they're having like fewer, and is that, and I think I liked that personally. I know it's always great to have a lot of episodes, as many as possible, and at the same time you really get to the meat of it and all that stuff. I was wondering how the writers feel about